Here's one thing most people on the internet are not going to tell you. Here's why you shouldn't start a business yet. And I'll tell you why. I had a friend recently reach out to me and he wanted to start his own business. He wanted to start a pressure washing business. And I told him it's too freaking early. And the fact of the matter was because he didn't have any knowledge, expertise, or any money to actually start this thing successfully. And if you guys don't know me, like my name's Garrett Campbell. I own Better Endeavors. We train and place salespeople into 7- and 8-figure companies. But that's not what this is about. So we'll just cut to the chase here. Here's why you should not start a business yet. I'll give you guys some context on my friend here. So he's like fresh out of high school, $200-300 to his name. He's never done anything in pressure washing ever. It's something he kind of watched online. He's like, oh, this would be cool to start. He literally like used to be a cashier like prior to this. So he didn't have any relative business acumen to like start this thing successfully. And I am all for taking risks, but I'm also for, not setting yourself up to fail either. You should be taking calculated risks where you have higher probabilities of success. Do you think you are more likely to succeed if you've like worked for a pressure washing company or at least done gobs of research on pressure washing companies or done a different home service to where you would have a higher likelihood of succeeding because you kind of know that world? It's like stepping onto Mars and like, trying to do some shit. You've never been there. You don't know anything about it. So we got on the phone and I kind of talked him through some things, just kind of gave him like some free game, like free advice. And I'm like, okay, cool, dude. So you are in Illinois, like it gets cold there. So tell me what happens when, it gets colder. Like, is the siding going to be a little bit more like brittle? As in when you spray something, like, is it more likely to break the siding? Can the water freeze? Can the soap freeze? If you do break someone's siding, do you need insurance? Do you use like their water or your own water? How much is the truck? Like, how much is the machine? Which machine do you actually buy? Do you put this like on your back? Is it something you need strapped in the truck? If it is something that's strapped in the truck, does it need to be a bigger truck that can support that amount of weight? Do you have to hire someone? Do you need licensing to actually do this? Like, how much is the actual chemicals? Can the chemicals eat out the siding? Do you know which chemicals to buy? And he was like, oh shit. Like, I did not think about all these things. Like, do you need business insurance? Like, do you need licensing to actually do this? I was like, there's basically, 3 main components to every single business. There's marketing, there's sales, there's fulfillment, or like giving them the product. It doesn't matter if you're Amazon, it doesn't matter if you're McDonald's, it doesn't matter if you are like a tutor, like it is the exact same thing. There's marketing, which is who is this person? There is sales, which is I know who this person is, how do I give them money? And then there's fulfillment or product or doing the service, which is all the same thing, which is I gave him money, now I expect him to do as good or better than I expected when I gave him that money. Those are the 3 main components. So I was like, okay, cool. Marketing. Like, how do people know of your pressure washing company? Like, how are they going to find out about you? How much are you going to charge? Are you going to be world class, like the best pressure washing company? You're going to be super expensive? Are you going to be super cheap to where everyone can buy, like, afford to work with you? And then when it comes to fulfilling, like, how are you going to be better than everyone else? Are there tons of competitors? And it just, the wheels of his brain were going slower and slower, and it came to a very, brutal smack in the face that he did not know what he needed to know to start this. And then lastly, this will all come full circle. Lastly, $200-300 to your name. I'm sorry, Chief, you're not going to be able to buy a truck, pressure washing stuff, business insurance if it's needed, licensing if needed, hiring people, marketing budget, all this with $200-300. It just ain't gonna happen. So here was my advice that I actually gave to him so that he had a higher likelihood of succeeding so he could actually crush it in a year or 2. People simply over glamorize being the entrepreneur CEO and under glamorize being an intrapreneur. And all an entrepreneur is just being the guy that's inside the business. Like, you're not exactly like an employee, you're like an entrepreneur within the confinement of the actual business. And this is what I recommend each and every one of you do before you actually start a business. So what I told him to do is find the best pressure washing company in the area and work for them and grind for them. Do all the sales that you can do. Be the best pressure washer you can be. Get really good at actually doing the service. Figure out how they get their clients. Like if they have business insurance, how much the truck costs, how much they pay the employees, how much they pay you. If you get a raise, why do you get a raise? How they get the jobs, like everything, every single thing you could possibly know. Because it's almost like if you're trying to start a business and you've not worked in a similar business before, it's almost like being a football coach and you've never fucking played football before. It's like, it's gonna be extremely difficult to be better than someone who's done the thing before. If you're trying to be a football coach but you don't know the offensive linemen, like their technique, their blocking, like what they should do on a run play versus a pass play. They don't know when a quarterback should drop back. Like, there's so many different nuances that you just simply don't know if you've never played football before. But let's say you are a running back. A running back in this example is just like being an employee of the whole business. So think of the business as the football team, and the coach is like the CEO, and the running back is like you, the employee in the business before you're the football coach. That's the picture I'm working to paint here. So if you're the running back, you may not know everything about what a free safety does or what a defensive lineman does or what a quarterback does, but you're close enough to it to where you can know. So you can know everything there is to do about, being a running back. And then you can talk with the other, employees, the other players on your team, be like, hey, why do you do it this way? You can talk to the coach, be like, hey, why do you have the defense do this and do this? Why do we sub out people? Like, why do we have this one specific person that may not be as, as talented? Oh, because he's more hardworking and he does what we say. Be like, oh, interesting. So you kind of learn all these nuances as you're in the game, and you play as like a cog inside the entire machine. And then you learn how the whole machine works, and then you can go build your own machine because you know how every little bitty gear inside that machine works, just like every little player inside the football team works, which is exactly like how every employee and every little system and thing that you do inside a business actually works. So point being is, if you wouldn't try to be a football coach and you've never played football, then don't try to start a business if you've never done something inside that world of business before. I hope that makes sense to you. And the coolest thing is as you learn every single nuance and every single problem and every little intricacy of that entire, business, like the pressure washing business, for example, like it's been a year and a half now. You've, probably made, 60, 70 grand. Hopefully, if you're smart with money and you've seen some of my other videos, you'll have 40K or so of that saved away. You'll have 40K stacked. You'll know every little intricacy. You're gonna know how they get their clients, what they do for marketing, how much they charge, why they charge that much, how many competitors are in the area, how much they pay every single employee, if they have insurance, like what happens if, you break someone's siding? What happens if you piss off a customer, you break a window? All these little bitty things that you won't know until you don't know what you don't know until you've been in it. So this is why I highly recommend being an entrepreneur in a similar business before you go and build the thing. This is what I did, right? Like, I was a salesperson for 7, 8-figure companies and even 9-figure companies before I built my own business. So I sold for a bunch of different companies, and I was like, okay, I didn't know anything about marketing, but I was like looking at their ads and I'm like, oh, that's how they get clients. Like, when they say this certain thing in an ad, it makes more people click, more people will call. And then when you get on the calls, this is what they say. And this is actually how they run their sales team. And then once they bring them on board as a client, like, it's not just like, cool, go talk to him. Like, there's a system for that. And they make them fill out this onboarding, and then they do this next. And then they pay the people that actually, do the fulfillment this, and this much. And here's why. And so I learned how every little, football player on the team, all their responsibilities and their pay and everything, every little system on why things were the way they were. And then after, I stacked 100, 200 grand or so, and I learned every little bitty nuance that I could. And there's still gonna be a learning curve when you do your own thing, but you have a higher likelihood and higher probability of success when you've never done the thing and you just don't know what you don't know and you're shooting blind in the dark, or when you've stacked cash, you have knowledge, you have experience, and you know all the nuances and all the problems involved in that business. Like, who's gonna win if you're like got these two guys in a relay race? Like, they're gonna get blown out of the water. And that's exactly why you should, without a doubt, get into sales for whatever business that you want to start. So in your head right now, like, if you want to build a pressure washing company, it's the example we've been giving, go knock door to door and sell jobs for a pressure washing company. If you want to be a videographer, go sell for like a videography, video editing like company or agency, or a coaching program for videographers. Or if you want to start a marketing agency, you want to run Facebook ads for people, like, go sell for a Facebook ads agency and learn how that whole business works, stack cash, and then go build it on your own. You have such a higher likelihood of success. And that's exactly what I've done. And it's exactly what tons and tons and tons of my clients have done, as you evolve and progress. They stack cash in sales, they make a lot of money. I place them with a phenomenal, sales opportunity with a company that they're actually intrigued in and they actually care about. They stack the cash, they learn how the business works. And the next natural evolution is, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, they start their own businesses and they make even more money. So if you're looking to maybe be an entrepreneur within a business that you may be interested in, I highly recommend you just click the link below and book a call with my team. We can help you break into sales, or if you're currently in sales, maybe just find a better company or just, improve your sales skills entirely. So if that's like up your alley and you're looking to be an entrepreneur, to take that, I feel that sales is kind of like a bridge between having like a job, like a job, and running your own business. It's like the bridge between the two, because you're truly an entrepreneur to where you can make as much money as you want. You have your income capacity can vary based on your skill level. And that's the part that makes you a true entrepreneur. And it's the next natural step to starting your own business. So if you've not done these things, I recommend you do these things before you start your own business so that you don't fail 90% of other business owners. So if you found value from this video, I highly recommend you subscribe so you can check out the next videos. And we will catch you on the next one. Check all the links below. You can hit me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm everywhere. And I'll see you guys on the next video.